Everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com, the weekend variety. We told you we were going to do a lot of weekend drops as we build toward the start of North Carolina's football season, which is Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Minnesota, Huntington Bank Stadium, Fox TV, national TV, biggest game in college football that night. I will be there, looking forward to it. We will have a crap load of coverage for you from Minneapolis and, of course, throughout the season in football and basketball, because we go where the Tar Heels go. And we kill it on recruiting. We kill it on all kinds of stuff. And for $3.33 a month, you can be a Tar Heel Insider too with a 1-year subscription. Go over, check us out. You won't regret it. Passionate Tar Heel fans have been joining us over the years, and they don't leave. They love it, and they stick around. So you can be a part of that community as well. Now, the topic at hand here is very simple. With a win at Minnesota, could that trigger another huge start for the Tar Heels that down the road places them at the same fork in the road they created 2 years ago at home against Georgia Tech and the last year at home against Virginia? As a quick refresher, most of you don't want to hear this. I'm sure you know it. But 2 years ago, Carolina wins at Wake Forest. They clinched the division title, 9-1, ranked, 13th in the country. Suddenly Drake's getting Heisman talk. Boom, lay an egg the next week at home against a bad Georgia Tech team with an interim coach and a merry-go-round at quarterback. Last year, 6-0, 10th in the country. Tar Heels positioned to do something special, feeling really good about themselves. And lowly Virginia came in and took it to them. Beat the Tar Heels again in Kenan Stadium. So I've termed that as two late season collapses because 2 years ago, the Tar Heels 9-1, they finished 9-5. They lost their last 4 games. Last year, 6-0, they finished 8-5. They lose 5 of their last 7. One of the wins was over an FCS team. So could the Tar Heels face that fork in the road? Could they reach the fork in the road again this year? It's possible. Let's look at the schedule. And it's not really inconceivable to see them being in that position again. And how will they handle it? We'll get to that in a minute. So they open up at Minnesota. That would be a good win. Minnesota in 2019 won 11 games, finished 10th in the country under PJ Fleck. The COVID year in the Big Ten, you throw it away. They didn't even think they were going to play, and they just kind of threw stuff together. I discount that season. 2021, Minnesota wins 9 games. 2022, Minnesota wins 9 games. Last year, 6-7. Tar Heels beat them 31-13 at Kenan Stadium. I think Minnesota will be better this year. The expectations that are there that they will be better this year. So that would be a very solid win, and it's a very losable game. But let's say the Tar Heels take care of business. They come back to Chapel Hill 1-0. If they do that, they got Charlotte up next. They're not going to lose that game. 2-0. Then they got NC Central, FCS opponent. Nobody should play FCS opponents in the ACC. I hope that goes away soon, but they got it. And Central will get some needed money. Carolina will cruise to a win there, 3-0. Then they get JMU, tough opponent, better than the name sounds. Got a nice little reputation as being a program that has continued to soar forward. Got a very passionate fan base. It's not huge yet, but it's growing. That'll be a challenging game for the Tar Heels in some respects, but maybe not, because Carolina's a lot more talented, a lot deeper, and JMU's got a new coach. 4-0. The next week, they go to Duke. Manny Diaz. Mac Brown owns Manny Diaz. 2000 in Hard Rock Stadium with Javante and Michael going crazy, says hello. Nevertheless, Duke should be pretty solid at quarterback. Duke should have a pretty solid defense again. It's a better program than it's been in a long time. It's been pretty solid. That would be a tough win for the Tar Heels, but they're going to go there and get a win for the sake of discussion and should, based on their talent, their experience, and their depth. 5-0. Pitt comes to town. Carolina's had Pitt the last couple of years. Pitt has kind of dipped a little bit under Pat Narduzzi the last 2 years since winning the ACC. In Chapel Hill, Tar Heels should take care of business. Might not be a pretty game. Take care of business, 6-0. Then guess who comes to town? Georgia Tech. 6-0 at home. Georgia Tech comes to town. Weather's getting chilly. Could be an ugly day. You never know. And a Georgia Tech team that is going to be battle tested by the time they arrive in Chapel Hill because they got a very tough schedule. Can the Tar Heels end the 3-game losing? And it's been an ugly 3-game losing streak, by the way. When they went to Mercedes-Benz Stadium a couple of years ago, the Tar Heels were pathetic that night. It was one of the worst Carolina performances I've seen in a long time. And I know that there have been greater margins of defeat before. But given the expectations of that team, given how that team handled that, given the way they responded during the game, it was terrible. Sacks and turnovers, just awful. And then, of course, the Jeff Sims touchdown when only 3 Carolina defenders were even ready when the ball was snapped. And that was just a terrible outing. Then, of course, I already noted the game from the year before in one of the other drops we talked about it with Carolina, 9-1, just beat Wake. Georgia Tech comes in and beats them. And then last year, Carolina gave up, 240 rushing yards in the fourth quarter, and they lose down in Atlanta. So they're pretty bad losses. Maybe it's time the Tar Heels fix that. So let's say they do. 7-0. Where do they go in week 8? Charlottesville. So if they reach 6-0, their next 2 opponents are the ones that ruined the last 2 seasons. They allowed them to ruin it. And credit Georgia Tech and Virginia for taking advantage. They go to Charlottesville. I don't think Virginia's going to be that good this year. I think Virginia might be in a situation where it changes coaches at the end of the year. It's a game North Carolina should go up there and win, period. 8-0. Now, 8-0 means they go to Tallahassee. Who knows what Florida State's going to be? I'm not 100% sold on DJU, but he may not need to be great for that team to win a ton of games and be the front runner in the ACC at that time. If Carolina loses that game, which would be likely, certainly the way we see it right now, an 8-0 start losing in Tallahassee is not going to be a season ender. What could cause issues is what comes after. Wake at home should take care of Wake, right? But Dave Clawson, pretty good coach. You never know he's going to have up his sleeve. Then they go to BC on November 23rd. I've looked up the average weather conditions on November 23rd in Chestnut Hill over the last 10 years, because I do stuff like that. High 30s, between 4 and 6 p.m., high 30s, 17-mile-an-hour winds in that range, and damp, like rain at some point that day, so it's damp air. You can tell me that that's not a recipe for Carolina to stub its toe, and then stayed at home, lost three in a row to the Wolfpack. This season could be a similar replay of the last 2 up to that fork in the road moment. And the Tar Heels would then have an opportunity to show that they have fixed some of that problem. You can lose to FSU and still be on track. But you can't lose to FSU, go lay an egg at BC, and then lose at home to State again. Place will be an inferno if that happens. So it's very possible. Win at Minnesota later this week, and then maybe it sets up something similar. I think it'd be really neat if it happens, just because I want to see what the program would do. I think there's a baseline foundation in the program, and that's getting to that point where they collapse. Now you've got to get past the collapse. You got to get past the swoon. Some people in the program don't like the word collapse, the term collapse on what happened. So it's a swoon, but whatever. Swoon's probably more fair anyway. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you see this happening? Would it be pretty wild 3 years in a row they're in that situation again? If, of course, it happens, we'll do a drop in 10 weeks or so from now saying, hey, do you think they're going to go the right way this time at the fork? But think about it, stick it in the back of your mind, this could be another fork in the road situation for this team and this program. 3 straight years. I think it lays out that way. I think it's very possible it happens. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm saying it's possible. There's a big difference. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you're excited about the opportunity to maybe get past that fork in the road situation this year, go ahead and click like on this video. If you're excited that football's here, click like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload, and tell your friends we're here. And remember, guys, just $8.33 a month. 1 year sub. It's a no-brainer. If you're passionate about the Tar Heels and you want recruiting information, basketball recruiting information, so many people love that, sign up now. I'm AJ. Thank you for stopping by.